What's going on, you guys? It's your Huggable Hipster here, and welcome to another review. This time we're going to be diving into my review of The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt. So much I want to say, and I know I'm not going to go onto a tangent because I have the script/article that I wrote right in front of me. I need my glasses for this. I know some of you guys complain about the fact that there is a light, you can see the reflection and everything from my glasses, but I need it in order to read the article that I wrote because I have both a written version and now a video version because I know some of you don't like to read the articles. It's just the way it is. So here's me making you guys feel a little more comfortable by making a video version. And plus, I love being able to do this kind of stuff. I'm going to be editing the videos, by the way, a little bit differently, just as a, housekeeping type thing that I want to mention to you guys, of where I might, starting with the review for the medium that comes out next week, I might insert game clips. I haven't quite decided yet, but I want to be able to do something different with these reviews. That way you're not just looking at me while I'm giving you guys the review. I want you guys to have some sort of more substance to what these reviews are. So with that being said, let's get into today's review on The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt. The Witcher, casting out monsters and men with the blow of his sword. With wise wit and careful tuning of the art, he makes himself known to those who cross him. Delicate as a fox and moving ever so slowly, bringing death's kiss to those who face him or even mock him, he, the Witcher, through pain, strife, and bitterness, will fight to the very end. So what is The Witcher? An angel of death, a menacing foe, or an unlikely hero? Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt is a game I never thought I would really get into, considering the fact that when I was growing up, I would play mostly horror role-playing games, and I would play different types of RPGs. I never really dived into an open-world game until I played Red Dead Redemption 2. No joke. Through the story had me both entranced and bewildered. The story of Geralt is a sad yet captivatingly beautiful one, all in one stroke. He shows that Witchers do indeed have emotion. Actually, out of a lot of the Witchers that I saw in the game, he has the most emotion and he is the most human. Throughout the game, each milestone, each mission, each quest, and funny tangent, it had a purpose. It had a reason for being there. This game had so much in it that I was so surprised that they were able to have so much story into one compact game. And the game was long, don't get me wrong, it was a very long game, but there was so much in it. There was so much to unravel that I was surprised that at the end of it all, they kept a linear story. All of this within the game wasn't just there to keep the game going. CD Projekt Red made it so that it had an impetus. It had a purpose. Now, The Witcher, originally a series of books by Andrzej Sapkowski, and now it got turned into a popular Netflix series, had me kind of bewildered and confused at first. What do I start with? Do I start with the books? Do I start with the games? Do I start with the TV show? Spoiler alert, I started with the TV show. I started with this TV series, and oddly enough, I found myself I know I say enthralled a lot, but I was enthralled by the magic that the story had entangled me with. And also, it didn't hurt that Henry Cavill was cast as Geralt either, so watching the story unfold, I feel like I was met with someone going through the 6 stages of grief. Let me explain. Geralt deals with numbness as he's kind of meant to keep this Witcher mask on, this facade. He deals with anxiety and panic at the hint of worrying over Yennefer. There's so much with the character Yennefer, which we'll get into later. Bargaining with himself as kind of a reflection of sorts, where he's really going through the motions of this anger, this reflecting on his past, reflecting on what he's doing currently. Also anger at the tune of destiny that hums in his ear through a gold dragon. And also depression for Yennefer, seeing how much she wants a child, not being able to have it, which by the way was through her choice. Okay? That was through her choice. We'll get into that later. And then finally accepting himself for the pessimistic, dry-humored victor that he is. Yes, it is a long game, but that is the point. I just want to explain to you guys, that is the point. This is an open world game. That is the point for it to be long, okay? All open world games are long. Hence why it is called an open world game. It's meant to embrace you with its lengthy charm, which now that I think about it, sounds like a really weird porno. Open world games normally have really exciting parts where you have to find stuff, parts where it's just filler. Nothing in this game is filler. You know, each part, like I said, it had an impetus. It has a purpose within this game. Each part has a story to tell. And from the games to, like, the main part of the game to the DLC to, you know, all the side quests that you go on, it all has a linear story to follow. Even with the contracts that you've, oh my god, the contracts, the Wraith contracts, there are vampire contracts. Listen, those are my cup of tea right there, okay? The Wraith contract, I love Wraiths, okay? I'm a big sucker for the history of Wraiths when it comes down to it, and when they depicted the history of the Wraith in this game, the many Witcher contracts have their own stories, and they go into the folklore, and they go into, like, the depth of the alluring concept of what this was all written about. And I just find it just mind-numbingly just oozing with goodness. This game is one I can sit down and relax to and, you know, bust out a couple of contracts while having a nice cup of tea and doing a facial. The game is known for being a long one, okay? It is known for having so much story to it, and I feel like that's why CD Projekt Red kind of made Cyberpunk 2077 a little bit shorter, because people were like, The Witcher was really long, why are you doing this to us? But, I mean, I love those types of games. I love games where I can just get lost in them, get lost in the story, get lost in the atmosphere and what it has to bring to the table. I love that kind of stuff. The fastest time that it took to complete the game but was by one of its developers, and it took him 20 hours. So you can't speed run this game by any stretch of the imagination. If that was a speed run, that's almost done in a day. With how in-depth the books go, from what I'm told, I actually do have the first book, by the way, so I am going to be going into that. But with how in-depth the books go, and with how broad a spectrum, like, the lore is, I'm very, very, very surprised that they were able to still keep it linear and not have it, like, meander off into different like subtopics and different this and different that. Because a lot of games, what they'll do is they'll create a storyline and then it won't stick to that linear storyline, which really, really bothers me. And it is only just 3 games, for now at least. I feel like with everything that's currently going on with CD Projekt Red, I feel like the last of their worries right now is to do a Witcher 4 game. So, while I do see a potential on the horizon for another Witcher game, it'll be a long shot before that comes. Even if they're like, oh, we're going to tease something, no, it's not going to happen. I mean, you know, unless the company tries to rush a project and we get the same mess that we did with Cyberpunk, but hey, who am I to judge? It's not like companies try to make their quota at the end of the year, right? Insert sarcastic laughter here. So let's go into the game versus the show. It did what it could. I'll say that much. The Witcher show on Netflix is good. Okay, I'm not saying that it's bad. I really think it's very, very good. In comparison to the game, it could have been better. Now that I've played the game and now that I actually know why people don't really vibe with it all too well, you know, at least some people. I know that a few of my friends are like, oh my gosh, yes, it's absolutely incredible. For me, it kind of just hits that middle ground of where it's not awful, but it could have done a lot more, especially with the character Triss. I know they're taking a lot of direction from the book. Okay, I know they're taking a lot of the direction of where they went with the show from the book. So maybe in the book Triss is described how she is in the show, but when I feel like a lot of people didn't read the books and they went from their what they remember from the game, since that's what they played. When they didn't see a redheaded Triss, they're like, what's happening? Okay, they're kind of questioning things back and forth over here. Now with Yennefer, I feel like they captured her very well. I feel like they captured, at least from my perspective, what I've seen from the game, I feel like they captured her very well. I feel like they caught her sass and her bitchiness and her love for Geralt very well, which, by the way, you can't have Geralt, okay? Not only is he a made-up character, but I feel like he only dates problematic women to begin with. But it's a simple fact that she chose her fate. Okay, and this is one of the biggest problems that I have with the character Yennefer in general. Yes, we get it, Yennefer, we get it. You were a hunchback who wanted to get beautiful as sort of this menacing revenge, but Yennefer, you chose beauty over being able to procreate. But Yennefer, my dear, please stop your whining, because you are the personification of a mausoleum. You are tall, you're beautiful to look at, you're strong, you're powerful, but stone cold and hard to love. So let's go into the psychology of Geralt, because with every article that I do, I always incorporate psychology. So let's go into this one. When I was playing the game, it almost felt like I was invading someone's mind, because this game feels like it's very personal to Geralt. It feels like you're walking through this labyrinth of who he is and what his motives are, and, you know, how much he cares about Ciri, and just everything involved, his love life, just everything. I saw him as a father to Ciri a brother to other Witchers, and this dry-humored human who basically wanted to see the best in people. He wanted to see people as equals, not one above the other. And for the first time, I actually didn't really think of a diagnosis to put with Geralt, because to be honest with you, there's no problems that he has. He doesn't have dissociative identity disorder. He doesn't have a god complex. He doesn't have a Napoleon complex. He doesn't have, he doesn't have anxiety. I mean, to an extent, he might have anxiety. Everybody does to a degree. But this is a well-rounded character that's actually behaving in accordance with good and evil. And he's not, Geralt is just that. While he's not human, he's the most human character I think we'll get, mentally speaking at least. Yes, he can toss around a good art and have a skillful talent to woo the ladies, but to me, honestly, all Geralt is a human who is immortal. Okay? He makes very real choices that I think kind of we see it a lot of the time in our own lives too, where we see betrayal, we see loss, we see lust, we see all of these different things, and he's making very human decisions. There's a grain of truth in every fairy tale. Andrzej Sapkowski. This game has cemented a place in my heart. This will forever be one of my favorites. I'm so mad at myself that I didn't pick it up sooner. It's just so good. For me, it's like I could just sit there and play so much of this game, just explore every nook and cranny. I mean, Roach, come on. Roach is like one of the best characters. I feel like that horse needs dialogue, okay? When it comes to games that have too much in them and they lack balance and a sense of self, that's kind of when it draws it away from me. But this game was done with such finesse. It has so much to offer, and it has a tremendous amount of content in it. And it really, like I said, before, it shocks me how linear CD Projekt Red was able to keep this entire game, because there's just so much content in it. Oh my god. This game is truly remarkable, and, if there ever is a fourth Witcher game, I really hope that they go into more of Ciri's story, because she was quite a remarkable character. There was one part of the game, even, I didn't put this in the article, but there was one part of the game where I saw that there was a light that was guiding Geralt in the Isle of Mists, and it was a light from Ciri. Now I'm questioning, is that Ciri's soul, or is that something that a mage did in order to extract something from Ciri? Because when he found Ciri, she was for all purposes dead. For all intents and purposes, that girl was dead. And then the spirit ball light thing just went into her, and then she kind of resurrected, oh, hallelujah. It was just remarkable to me. So I'm thinking, is that the soul of Ciri guiding him in a way? I thought that was really pretty monumental. Controls were good. I didn't have anything to say on them or a section to say on any of it, because they were just good. I mean, for a 6-year-old game, the controls aged really well. I mean, unlike a lot of games that I play, which are very much older by today's standards, I'm not able to get as much of a great response as I am with this. Because the thing is that when it comes to a certain level of where a game is for an older generation console and you try to play it on a newer generation, it can go of two ways, of where the controls are just really weird and clunky. They work, but they're clunky, or they could actually just run smoothly. This means that the code was working really well with this game. So yeah, you have great developers over at CD Projekt Red who are actually able to make a decent game that is timeless. This game is one that I would highly recommend in a heartbeat. It has lore, it has love, it has fighting, it has valiance, it has really so much content within it, and it's just a good story that grabs you in and it just doesn't let go. This is one game I'm going to be thinking about and playing for years to come. I love it. So flex your sword, young Witcher, for it's only the beginning. But you guys, that's it for me. If you guys like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell down below, because I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I stream on Saturdays and Sundays as well. But stay casually nerdy. I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.